Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Ashtaresha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada. Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Brahmacharya Shtachara Sata Sri Srimad Chidananda Goswami Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Brahmacharya Shtachara Sata Sri Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Praying se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the Assembled Devotees, all glories to the Assembled Devotees, all glories to the Assembled Devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada, Lilamrita. We are going to begin where they left off. I don't know how often this happens. Now, everyone here speaks English, correct? Yes? Shamaste yahan samasta अंग्रेजी मालूम है? अंग्रेजी नहीं मालूम हाथ ऊपर रखें? ठीक है, समस्त अंग्रेजी. कारण मेरा हिंदी बहुत कम है. All right. So, where are we? This momentous hour of need is the title of this chapter. We are here. Yes. In the previous reading, the title of this chapter, I believe, is taken from this letter. Or some letters that were written by Srila Prabhupada during this period of time. So the period of time that we're in right now is July of 1962. It begins. Previously, we heard how Srila Prabhupada changed from Vamsi Gopalji temple. How many of you have been to Vamsi Gopalji temple? So Srila Prabhupada's quarters there were in the, I think, the top floor. It is not maintained like Radha Damodar, but it is there, we can see it. And he had moved to Radha Damodar temple. So he had been renting that room, we heard, getting it fixed up, and now it was ready, and he moved in. And we would begin and continuing his work. So in the previous reading, we heard about his schedule. how he would wake from a short rest at 1 in the morning. I don't know about you, but I could never do it. Maybe I could one day do this by His grace. But at present, he would begin his translation work, writing in the stillness. At 4 a.m. the arti would begin. And now, arti is complete. And we have Srila Prabhupada in his room in Radha Damodar. Everyone can mentally go there, to that room as it was. Imagine looking out from that window in his little kitchen and seeing an empty courtyard. Now it is all developed with all kinds of construction and so on. When I first came to Vrindavan in 1975, it was still the way it was when Srila Prabhupada lived there. It was just a simple courtyard. There was these beautiful small structures for the bhajan, kutir and samadhi of Rupa Goswami. And there was the small little structure of Bhugarbha Goswami's samadhi, but very simple, very, very simple. Not thousands of people, just quiet. After working a few hours, now we're beginning our reading. And please meditate on Srila Prabhupada sitting in those quarters. After working a few hours on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta Swami would sit in his room and chant japa. As the morning sky turned light blue, the stars would vanish, and residents of Vrindavan would arrive to visit the deities and the samadhis of the Goswamis. Old women would enter the temple, calling out, Jaya Radhe, in broken voices. When Bhaktivedanta Swami opened the shutters, his room would fill with light. His windows faced a courtyard, but they were not so much windows as cement latticework in the wall. Although passers-by could not easily see into the room, the latticework allowed light to enter. In the morning light, the room was clearly revealed. The arched ceiling, the freshly painted walls with arched niches, the floor of inlaid stone. Bhaktivedanta Swami's thin sannyas danda, wrapped in heavy saffron khadi, leaned against one corner of the room. On one shelf he had placed a picture of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, on another a stack of books and manuscripts. The room's two doors appeared flimsy even when locked, and the whole room tilted slightly to the left. It was bare but peaceful. I'm reminded of a story, wonderful story, about Srila Prabhupada's danda. During this time, probably, one devotee who was interviewed for a book by my godsister Mula Prakriti, she went about interviewing devotees who had known Srila Prabhupada at this time. People who were here in Vrindavan at this time. And one of those devotees recalled how Srila Prabhupada would time to time go with his danda and cross the Jamuna and plant his danda in the sand, take out his kartals, and all alone do kirtan and walk around his danda. We know that the danda is a sign of the surrender of a sannyasi, mind, body, and words, Tridandi, to the service of Sri Krishna. So he used his danda as a mode of focus of his kirtan. Oh, you are. They can see me anyway. You here. Hi. Srila Prabhupada's attachment to kirtan is a topic that I think we should reflect on frequently. Also related to dandas, I'm reminded of a story, probably in the same series of stories, from Krishnadas Babaji, one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, who was not, a number of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, sannyasis. Krishnadas Babaji, he was a Babaji, right? Not a sannyasi, he was Babaji. So he didn't have the sort of institutional kind of service as Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Maharaj or Keshav Maharaj or Bon Maharaj or so many other of his godbrothers who established their various mutts. But Krishnadas Babaji was just wandering from this place to that place, simply chanting. He was so sweet in his kirtan, and always in kirtan, and always laughing, and always smiling. So he was present when Srila Prabhupada received that danda in the Keshav, I think it's called the Keshav Gaudiya Math in Mathura. Is that what it's called? Keshav Gaudiya Math? I'm not sure. Anyway, so from Keshav Maharaj. So the ceremony was going on, as he recalls. So ceremony, there's now the fire jagya, and this was, Om, all the mantras were being chanted, and Krishnadas Babaji was there present, and he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And maybe he was getting a little enthusiastic in his chanting and very happy. And one of the devotees who was officiating or so on turned to Babaji, Krishnadas Babaji, and sort of signaled to him, tone it down a bit, we're having a ceremony here. And as he recalls, our Srila Prabhupada, out of his eye, noticed this, and without others seeing, he motioned to him, increase, don't turn it, make it more. And Krishnadas Babaji reflects that he could see that because of his attachment to the holy names of Krishna, he would be successful in his mission. And I was again reflecting, today we also heard in Srimad Bhagavatam class some verses from Srila Prabhupada's poem on the Jaladuta. And those of you, if you recall this poem, we've had an occasion to hear this poem a few times in the last several weeks because we've celebrated the anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the U.S. So it was a good occasion to sing and to recite this poem. And as you may know, those of you familiar with it, it ends and I don't have it memorized, so I'll mess this up a bit. But he basically says, I've been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, but I have no Bhakti. In his humility, Prabhupada says, I have no Bhakti, I have no Vedanta. He says, I have one thing. I have firm faith in the power of the holy name. I have firm faith in the power of the holy name. So this is Srila Prabhupada's greatest, you could say, superpower. His complete faith and dedication to the holy names of Krishna. That's what has captured the world. So let's read on. Often sitting on the veranda between the two rooms, he would view the courtyard, the altar, and the deities Radha Damodar, Vrindavan Chandra, and several other Radha Krishna deities. And the deities. Radha Damodar, Vrindavan Chandra, and several other Radha Krishna deities awaited their visitors. During the morning, the deity doors remained open as a regular file of visitors turned the temple into a bustling place of pilgrimage. No one stayed very long. Some had rigid schedules to visit many temples and hurried on. Poor people, and also local businessmen, their wives in colorful saris, all devotees, headed towards the altar calling, Jai Ho, Jai Radhe. After greeting the deities, they would disappear through the door to the outdoor area of the temple compound to visit the samadhis. Although in Vrindavan there were hundreds of small temple-like tombs honoring past Vaishnavacharyas, Bhaktivedanta Swami regularly visited the chief samadhis, those of Sri Jiva Goswami, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Within a separate area of the temple compound were the Bhajan Kutir and the samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Bhaktivedanta Swami often sat chanting japa before Rupa Goswami's samadhi. The line of pilgrims from the temple would continue entering the outdoor area of the compound, coming to offer dandavats to Rupa Goswami. Most pilgrims considered this the most important feature of their visit to Radha Damodar temple, and even if they offered respect nowhere else, they would stop before the samadhi of Rupa Goswami. They would stop with folded hands and bow, chanting Jaya Radhe, or with their hands in their bead bags, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, circumambulating the samadhi. Bhaktivedanta Swami would sit and chant, even after the early morning rush of visitors, or sometimes he would walk to the nearby temples of Radha Shyam Sundar or Radha Madan Mohan, always returning by 11 to cook his meal. As he cooked, and later as he sat to take his prasadam, he could see through the lattice work the samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Feeling Rupa Goswami's presence, he would think of his own mission for his spiritual master. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya are known as Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. Without following the teachings and example of Rupa Goswami, one cannot enter the path of pure devotion to Radha and Krishna. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was especially known as a strict Rupanuga, as described in the Sanskrit prayers written in his honor. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the personified energy of Sri Chaitanya's mercy, who delivers devotional service enriched with conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, coming exactly in the line of revelation of Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupanuga Virudapa. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the personified teachings of Lord Chaitanya. You are the deliverer of the fallen souls, and you do not tolerate any statement that is against the teachings of devotional service enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami. Bhaktivedanta Swami's spiritual master and the previous spiritual masters in the succession had wanted the Krishna consciousness movement to spread all over the world. And as Bhaktivedanta Swami daily gathered inspiration, sitting before Rupa Goswami's samadhi, he prayed to his spiritual predecessors for guidance. The intimate direction he received from them was an absolute dictation. and no government, no publisher, nor anyone else could shake or diminish it. Rupa Goswami wanted him to go to the West. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted him to go to the West. Krishna had arranged that he be brought to Radha Damodar temple to receive their blessings. At the Radha Damodar temple, he felt he had entered an eternal residence known only to pure devotees of the Lord. Yet although they were allowing him to associate intimately with them in the place of their pastimes, they were ordering him to leave. To leave Radha Damodar and Vrindavan and to deliver the message of the Acharyas to forgetful parts of the world. In so many ways, it's so difficult for us who are still struggling to experience Vrindavan as it is, to appreciate fully what it meant for Srila Prabhupada, who was not just living in some rooms in the complex of Radha Damodar, but who was fully living in Vrindavan, fully experiencing the Vrindavan that we aspire to experience beyond the coverings of our material vision. Especially today, that Vrindavan is even more covered. When I first came here in 1975, this temple was under construction, and there was nothing around. It was fields, no cars, and there were a few little bicycle rickshaws. To get from Mathura station to here, Vrindavan, the standard mode of transport, you can still, I think, get this, was a horse tonga. Clippity clop. Took a good time. Of course, it was very mystical to be riding on that horse. So there was still at that time some sort of sense of the beauty and serenity of Vrindavan to even my eyes. But beyond that vision that we could have, there was another layer or another depth, another inner vision that Srila Prabhupada had, in which the pastimes of Krishna, the Leela of Krishna. The other day, I was sitting with my godbrother Abhiram Prabhu, just a few days ago. And he was reflecting, we were reflecting on Srila Prabhupada, and he was reflecting on something that, one of his own experiences. During Srila Prabhupada's last days physically present with us here in Vrindavan, Abhiram Prabhu was, you could call him Prabhupada's nurse. He was very much involved in many different things. I mean, there was a crew, there was a team of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Bhavananda Prabhu, Maharaj at the time, anyway. They were attending And Abhiram was one of those who was part of that attendance. And he would sometimes be asked to spend time with Srila Prabhupada in the evening because Srila Prabhupada was needed 24-hour attendance. So he recalls how one evening, at that time, even when I came in 1975, and my wife recalls also when she came in, I think, 77 or so. Nowadays, if you hear a peacock calling in Vrindavan, it's a rare thing. But in those days, it was very common. And just like in, maybe some of you in other parts have had experience when at night when one dog starts barking, then the other dogs start barking, and you set up the peacocks are like that too. So one peacock started calling, and then another peacock started calling from another place, and another peacock started calling. And this whole symphony of peacocks calling out to each other started arising in the atmosphere. This is, must be 11, 12, maybe 1 in the morning, the middle of night, and the peacocks are calling. And it's understood in Vrindavan that these peacocks are calling out for Sri Radha. They're conversing about Sri Radha. And Abhiram was telling us, he was describing how he was sitting there and observing Srila Prabhupada, who was quite weak, and observing him with his eyes closed, because he mentioned that Srila Prabhupada, he never saw Srila Prabhupada sleep like we do, He would lie down, his eyes would be closed, he would be resting, but still in a different space. And he observed how, as these peacocks were calling in the atmosphere of Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada laid back and began to moan, feeling the ecstasy of Krishna's Leela. This is Srila Prabhupada in Radha Damodar, not just living there, but fully experiencing the spiritual depth, and yet completely surrendered to the order of his spiritual master, backed up by Rupa's own order, which came to him in I don't remember how he described it, but Srila Prabhupada describes how Rupa Goswami himself ordered Srila Prabhupada to preach, to go, to leave Vrindavan. He was so determined to do this, and we'll hear in the subsequent chapters how difficult it would be. They gave the order, but they didn't make it easy. They, for whatever I believe, for the glorification, for the glory, to enhance the glory of Srila Prabhupada, they put so many obstacles in his way, and to show to us how determined he was, and to give us a sense of the greatness of Srila Prabhupada and his determination to serve the mission of his spiritual master. A determination that we should all aspire for. We should all aspire to achieve that same determination. When are we supposed to end? What time? At 7? Okay, so then we'll finish this chapter. There's just a few more paragraphs. In June, this must have been June around 1962, I believe. Yes, 62. In June, the weather became intolerably hot, and one could not remain active through the afternoon. During the most oppressive hours, Bhaktivedanta Swami would shut his doors and shutters and run the overhead fan. By evening, the heat would abate, and again a flurry of visitors would arrive, and in the temple compound there would be evening kirtan. Sitting on his veranda, Bhaktivedanta Swami would sometimes talk with visitors, or sometimes they would come to his door and observe him as he worked at his typewriter. He was known in Vrindavan as a scholar and a sublime devotee, but he kept to himself as much as possible, especially in the summer of 1962, working on Srimad Bhagavatam. That was his real purpose in coming here, to prepare the books he could distribute to the people of the West. Although as yet he had no means for traveling even as far as Japan, and no means for printing books, these were the goals for which he worked. He had not come to Vrindavan to die and return to Godhead. Rather, he had come because it was the ideal place to gain spiritual strength for his main life's work. The exact shape of his future mission, Bhaktivedanta Swami did not know, but he did know that he must prepare himself for preaching Srimad Bhagavatam to the English-speaking Western world. He must become a perfectly equipped instrument of his masters, and if they desired, they would send him. That ends this chapter. The next chapter is called The Dream Come True. So we've been hearing about the dream, the nature of the dream, the nature of Srila Prabhupada's aspiration. We've heard how in the late 40s, in fact, Srila Prabhupada speaks about how his determination increased when he read a verse, a commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the Bhagavad Gita, where a verse, and I forget the number, Vyavasayatmaka Bhuti Ekeha Kuru Nandana, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that this Ekeha, this fixedness of intelligence is known by accepting the order of one's guru as one's life and soul. So Srila Prabhupada reflects how he took that as a further solidification of his commitment to fulfilling the order which he had received on the very first meeting with His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, to take the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world and to teach, to convey the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English language. We could speak many more incidents how this instruction was reinforced from time to time to time in Srila Prabhupada's life, from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself, in words and also in, you could say, a glance. I recall in that same book, I think it is, one devotee recalling how in a meeting, I think when Ban Maharaj returned without much success in his mission to take this movement to the Western world, there was a gathering in Mayapur, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was present on the balcony and looking out over an assembly of sannyasis and others, and commenting how he was certainly happy that Ban Maharaj had attempted, but again he was also a bit disappointed that there was not so much success. But he, as this devotee recalls, he looked out over the audience and said, but there will be one who will do it. And this devotee saw the eyes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur fall directly on Abhay Babu, who was seated in the back. Others have seen other instances like this. So there were various reinforcements. And finally, Rupa Goswami himself in the courtyard of Radha Damodar has cemented the determination. And with that support and that energy, Srila Prabhupada, as we'll see in the next chapters, went up against every obstacle without any sense of impossibility. He would do it, and he did do it. And we all are eternally grateful. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.